Hello and welcome. Today we're going to talk about two things that I consider very important in life: changes and strategies. I call these magic words, and I have few other magic words in my own dictionary, but today we're going to focus on these two. So, change is something that scares most people in the world. And it's normal to be scared of changes, but the thing is, we need to embrace it. It's okay to have fear, but we need to face it anyways. Because I believe changes brings new opportunities and new possibilities. I love changes personally. I love moving to a new house, to a new city, even to a new country. I love knowing that I have a whole new city to explore. That excites me very much. An exercise that I do when I feel I'm very bored at home. Usually when I'm in a corner of a room in my house staring at a piece of furniture and my kids see that, "Oh, mom, please don't do that. We know what you want to do. You want to move furniture around." And I say, "Yes, that's exactly right." Because I love doing that. So when they say that, I know they are not in the mood for changes, right? Which is normal. So I just wait them for it to go out and I move things around. I do that, and of course, I don't get things right at the first time, but I keep trying until voila, I have a new living room or a new bedroom. And the feeling that comes with that is so good. It makes me feel very good, refreshed. It's the same old furniture. You understand that, right? There's no new decoration items, nothing like that. It's the same old stuff, but in a new setting. So it gives you a new look. It refreshes our lives. That's one of the things that I do to refresh, to renovate my life. It feels good from the inside out. And when I go out, for to work or something, and I come back and I open the door and I see my new living room, I wasn't expecting that because we forget, right? We are so used to the way it was before. So it's always a great surprise. We get so used to our life, to what we have around us, and I'm not just talking about furniture, I'm talking about people also. We get used to people around us. We take everything for granted. So we don't notice things anymore. We don't appreciate. And that's why I say that it's good, and sometimes we need to provoke changes. We need to use tools to remind ourselves of who we are, what we have, the people that love us, right? So my kids, when they come back home, they say, "Wow, this looks great. Why didn't we think about this before?" And I say, "I wasn't sure if this was gonna work, but I wouldn't know if I had not tried." And that's what life is about. We need to try new things. We need to challenge ourselves to do new stuff, to do new things, to do things that we are not used to. Try changing the way you go to work. Do a different path. Anything, any minor things. Change your watch to the other arm so you notice how beautiful your watch is. So I'm talking about from minor things that you can change your life to big things. I would like to suggest you to create a list of things you'd like to do and you've never done before. And then prioritize that list and start doing one thing per day. It doesn't matter if it's minor change, but do that. And you see that great things will happen in your life. You see that once you start practicing this exercise, you open your mind to new possibilities and new opportunities. There's a quote from Jim Rohn that I really like. It says, "If you want to have more, you need to become more. If you want things to improve, you need to improve. For things to change, you have to change. When you change, everything changes around you." Isn't that great? So do not give yourself a chance to regret things that you didn't do. And there's only one person that can change your life, and that person is you. So embrace changes and provoke changes, and you see great things happen in your life. When I was 12 years old, I had a dream. I want to work with my dad really bad. But I asked him many times, and his answer was always the same: "No, you need to focus on school and get good grades." And to me, I could do both, right? But I don't think he agreed with that. My dad was a doctor, a hematologist, and pathologist, and he had his own company. So I dreamed about working for him. Different than my brothers that want to follow my dad's path, going to medical school, I was always more on the business side. I admired my dad a lot, as a doctor, but what fascinated me was his vision for business, his entrepreneurship. So I think that's why I want so bad working with him. So after receiving so many no's, I decided it was time to develop a strategy to reach my goal. Then I decided that every day after school I would go to his company, tell him, stories about what happened at school, what I learned that day, and then I would wait just for him to get busy so I could sneak out from his office and hide in one of the departments. And I would offer my help and start working. So I did that for several days. My dad was always very busy, so it always took a while for him to find out I was still at the company. But as soon as he would find out, he would send me home and very mad. So that happened for several weeks until one day he told me, he said, I don't want you to come here anymore. You really need to focus on school and get good grades. It's not time for you to work here yet. It's too soon. So that day I went home, I was really sad. But then when I went to bed, I said, I'm not giving up. It's time to change my strategy. My dad used to love a Brazilian cake called bolo de fubá, fubá cake. It's a very simple and very popular cake, but it is actually delicious, especially, when it's still warm and with coffee. Oh my gosh, that's delicious. It's mouth-watering. I miss that. I'm homesick now. But so he used to love that cake. So my plan was I would get home after school, take a shower, have lunch, and I would bake a cake for him. Then I would go to his company, walking. His company was about 1.5, 2 miles from home. And then I would go straight to his office. And before he would say anything, I would say, hey dad, you work so hard, you deserve a break. I have a surprise for you. So then I would get even closer to him so he could smell that delicious cake. It was like magic. I never forget his face expression. But even though he still sent me home, and I repeated that for several weeks, until one day that finally he decided that I deserved that job. At that time, I thought that the cake did the magic for me. But later on, when I was more, mature, I realized that it wasn't the cake. My dad was so happy to see my skills to develop strategies, my determination, and my focus, and my never giving up attitude that he thought I deserved that job. And I was so blessed to have that determination, that never giving up attitude, because 3 years after that, my dad suddenly passed away from a heart attack. I had a chance to experience my dad not just as a dad, but as a boss, as a doctor, as a businessman. So it was a very rich experience for me those 3 years. And this was all thanks to my strategy skills and determination. I'm just telling this story because I think it illustrates a little bit of what I want to say about the importance of strategy in our lives. So now I want to tell you a story that I heard several years ago. You know those stories that open your eyes? This is one of them. It illustrates also the importance of strategy. It's a story between a farmer and his daughter, and it happened in the 1920s. The farmer, he had an orchard with fruits and vegetables. And one day his orchard caught fire, so all fruits and vegetables were burned. He was desperate because there was no way he could put food on the table for his family. So he got a loan at the bank in the closest city and he rebuilt his orchard. Then a devastated thunderstorm came and he lost all his orchard. He was desperate now because he could not put food on the table and he could not pay the loan. So the day after, he went to the bank to talk to the lender and see if they could come up with a solution. And the lender said, yes, I have a proposal for you, but you need to come back and bring your beautiful daughter. The farmer didn't like that the lender asked him to bring his daughter, but he had no other options. He went to the bank with his daughter and he And he asked the lender, so what's your proposal? You know I have no money to pay the loan. So the lender looked at the floor, and the floor was decorated with some blue and green pebbles, and told them, do you see the green and blue pebbles on the floor? I have 2 bags in my hands, 1 in each hand. I'm gonna get 1 blue pebble and 1 green pebble. I wanna put 1 in each bag. And I'll pick 1 color. And your daughter will have to guess which bag has a pebble of that color. If she guesses right, your loan is paid and you guys go back to the farm. But if she guesses wrong, you go back to your farm and she stays with me. She'll be the payment. She's mine. The farmer was desperate because at that time, somebody that would not pay a loan would go to jail. And he didn't want to go to jail, but he didn't want to lose his daughter. So they were both desperate. Until, he looked at his daughter and he said, I'm going to go to jail because I really don't want to lose you. But at the same time, his daughter noticed that the lender was cheating because instead of getting 1 pebble of each color, he got 2 blue pebbles. So she was in shock because she knew they could not win. She thought about fighting with the lender, telling him that she knew he was cheating, but at the same time, she knew that that would not solve the problem. So she was being challenged, with that situation to find a solution until she came up with a great idea. And she told the lender, she said, we accept your proposal. And her dad was in panic, especially because he didn't know she had a great idea. So then the lender said, okay, here are the 2 bags, 1 of each hand. And I want you to pick the bag that has the green pebble. And as she was picking the pebble inside of the bag, she accidentally dropped the pebble on the floor very quickly. So it mixed with the other pebbles. And the lender said, oh, now we'll have to do it all over again. And she was just waiting for that comment. She said, no, sir, we don't need to do that again. All we need to do is to look at which pebble do you have in the other bag. If you have a blue pebble, then that means that I picked the right one, right? So the lender had no option. He had to show that he had a blue pebble in his hand. So they went back to the farm very happy and the problem was solved. So many times we need to think different than most people think. The farmer's daughter saved his life. Great achievements usually involve great risks. So we need to think about that next time we have a big challenge. The pebble game that seemed to be so dangerous end up being a great opportunity for them. Usually those opportunities are hidden from most people's eyes. And some opportunities require high risk, and if you are not willing to take that, you'll see those opportunities as obstacles. So next time you face a challenge or an obstacle like that, remember the farmer's daughter strategy skill. Think in a different way. I guarantee you that great things will start happening in your life once you start practicing this creative thinking to find new possibilities, new way to solve problems. And you also realize that you have the power to change your life. This is very powerful. So we need to practice creative thinking all the time. And the more you practice, the better you get to it. The more creative you become. We need to use adversity in our advantage. And we need to do what we love and face obstacles, embrace changes, and our life will change too, for better. Thank you for watching. See you next time. If you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe to my channel. Bye-bye.